Okay, we are recording. I am filming from a different location tonight in the spirit of this being not your typical Capricorn moon. We are also not coming to you from the typical space. I don't know what I was trying to say there. So I am a little zenned out right now. I just got done teaching yoga nidra here at my studio, and I'm hanging out here in my workplace because this new moon is in Capricorn. And Capricorn is a very professionally oriented sign. So I thought, what better location to stream this moon circle from than where I work and where I pursue things professionally. So if you are catching the recording and this is your first time tuning in with me, my name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess, an intuitive, a channeler of the divine. That is what my spiritual name Vina means. And I have been leading these moon circles online for a little over 7 years now at this point, if not longer. And I try to tune in every new moon and full moon to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the cosmos and how to navigate that energy. Now, I do live stream my moon circles exclusively in my 13 Moons membership. That is my digital astrology and magic membership, but I do provide recordings as well with a little bit of edit to them. If you are a member of 13 Moons and you're tuning into the live circles or the unedited replays, you also get tarot card pulls or card pulls, personalized card pulls, and then you also get some magical practices and other guided practices that you won't have in the edited version of the circle. So if you want to check out more of the live version of this experience or just learn a little bit more about astrology, you can go to my website, vinalene.com/store, and you can check out the memberships options. I do have free trials with all of the membership options as well. So if you want to check that out, feel free. So we are going to talk about this new black moon in Capricorn tonight. It is a black moon because this is the second new moon in a month. We had a new moon in Sagittarius on December 1st, and now here, December 30th, just 2 days before the new year, we have a moon in Capricorn. We also began our year, the year of 2024, with a new moon in Capricorn. So we are coming around to the same energy that we began this year with, almost giving us a bit of a deja vu experience. But we will talk about this tonight and how we can handle this energy, how it can benefit us as we step into 2025. I'm also going to touch base on some other cosmic transits that are happening right now and the Vedic astrology of this moon. I always know that I'm not an expert in Vedic astrology, but I am a yogi, and I do feel like the Eastern perspective of the moon is just as important as the Western perspective, and it's a little bit more of an ancient perspective as well. And it's funny how even, looking at the Eastern side or the Western side of things, the themes of the moon will still line up and be similar. So I like to touch base on that. Now, tonight is a special moon circle because I am going to let you sneak peek the practices that I would typically only do with my 13 Moons members. So we are going to do a breathwork practice tonight, a grounding practice, a meditation practice, and all of this is to align with this Capricorn new moon energy. And normally I would save that just for my 13 Moons members, but because this is such an auspicious moon, I'm going to go ahead and include that in the transmission tonight. So get yourself comfortable, maybe have something to drink, something to take notes with, and get ready to learn all about this oncoming lunar cycle. I always like to begin my transmissions with deep breathing. I think it's good for us to just come in, ground, take a moment to slow down and pause, really shift our focus here so that we can take in everything that we need to receive. So wherever you are, can you just get a little taller in your spine? Maybe you're seated, maybe you're standing, maybe you're lying down, but can you get a little taller there? And then can you take a deep breath in and a deep breath out? Maybe just shake it out at the bottom of that breath. Loosen yourself up. Let's do it again. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, maybe with some sound this time. Just like a big sigh, letting go of any tension, vibrating those vocal cords, turning on the vagus nerve, right? Getting you more focused on the present. And for this final one, if you'd like to reach your arms out overhead, just take a nice stretch, deep breath. And exhale, let it all go. Let's start by bringing in the 5 elements. And this is the way I always like to start my moon circles. I do think bringing in the 5 elements just enhances the energy that we're working with tonight. And this is a great way to introduce you to some unique frequencies if you don't have access to them in your own space or your own life. The great thing about this digital space that we're connecting to is that it moves beyond the dimensions of like 2D, 3D space and time. So all of the frequencies of these tools and elements that I'm going to introduce you to tonight, you are receiving those in some form or fashion. So embrace these elements if you don't have them on your own or you're not able to acquire them. And don't worry about working with these tools right away. I mean, you can certainly use these tools during this new moon and this new moon portal, but you can also use them throughout this entire lunar cycle. A new moon is always going to set the tone for the lunar cycle ahead. So this Capricorn new moon will hold a Capricorn energy for the next 4 weeks, even when we move out of Capricorn season and into Aquarius season. So embrace whatever you want to work with over the next 4 weeks. But if you'd like some suggestions, I will bring in some for you tonight. We are starting with some crystals and some gemstones. The first one I would suggest working with is any sort of sphere or any sort of moonstone. Now, this is a black moonstone. So if you have black moonstone, this is a great one to use because we are underneath a black moon. But any sort of moonstone is going to honor that lunar energy, and any sort of sphere is also going to remind us of the moon and that energy that we're working with. I also like to work with spheres because of that cyclical nature, right? We are in the same moon that we started this year with. It's like things are coming back around full circle. So feel free to use your spherical gemstones and crystals if you have those in your collection. Maybe you just have some of the mala beads, either full malas or wrist malas. A lot of those are going to be spherical shaped crystal beads as well, so that could count too. I would suggest also working with ocean jasper right now. So here's an ocean jasper. It's very swirly and it kind of reminds me of waves of the ocean. If I can get that to focus a little bit better. I don't know how much it's going to focus. Pull it back. But you can see these swirls in here. There it goes. And ocean jasper is all different kinds of colors, but it does look like the swirls of the waters. Now, I would suggest working with this for a couple of reasons. Number one, we are in the moon of Capricorn, and Capricorn is represented by the sea goat. So a little bit of this land and water combination. It is an earth sign, but it is related more to the mythology of the mermaid or some sort of creature that is half fish or sea creature and half mammalian. So thinking about ocean jasper and these creatures that are in the ocean, this can be a reason to use this. Also, the appas, or these Ayurvedic water goddesses that rule all of the waters of the earth and help use the waters to purify us and to detoxify us. Those energies are ruling this moon from the perspective of Vedic astrology. So you're embracing in this energy of water as well as its ability to calm and soothe us. In fact, ocean jasper is great if you have anxiety. I had a friend message me today and was like, what's going on in the ether that's making me wake up in the middle of the night and feel very anxious? I said, well, I don't think it's maybe the ether. It's probably just the 5G and all of the EMFs and just the stress. But we are at the end of the year, right? And we have this oncoming year ahead. And there's a lot of unknown for this year ahead, because we are in different positionings with the cosmos. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. Pluto has now moved out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. And by the way, Pluto is one of the ruling planets of Capricorn. So we're in a very different energy than we have been for, let's see, 16 years, almost 17 years. So if you're feeling anxious about something that you're not sure of, even, it's probably just this oncoming new year and the future that is unknown. But it could also be the grief of letting go of 2024. We might be reflecting now on all of the things that we did not accomplish and we did not achieve, and that can make us feel very anxious, like we're missing out on something. So there's a lot of different feelings that come up during a new moon, especially an earth new moon, because Capricorn's an earth sign. And anytime we're in a new moon, especially an earth moon, we're going to feel the earthly human experience and all of the emotions that are attached to that. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling heightened in any way, nervous, uncertain, unsure, Ocean Jasper is a great one to use. Just hold it in your meditation, keep it in your pocket, have it in your spaces. Maybe just look at it. It's very calming to look at, tracing all of those little waves and swirls that move throughout it. Now, finally, I would suggest working with any sort of black crystal, because black absorbs grief, black absorbs negativity, black helps take all of that ick so that we don't carry it on. I happen to have some black obsidian within this smudging spray that I'm going to use tonight. So I would suggest working with maybe a smudging spray with black stones in it if you want to really get rid of the negativity. But any sort of black stone in your life can be handy right now. Maybe wearing that, having that in your pocket, keeping them in your spaces to absorb negative energy. Moving on to the energy of water, mentioning that water energy that's so strong right now with the Appas ruling this moon. I like to use essential oils, and I'm going to just provide a few suggestions tonight. The first one I would suggest working with is wintergreen if you enjoy that scent, because Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign that begins its season with winter solstice, the first day of winter. So we want to embrace these wintry scents and this wintry energy, maybe these energies of, more of the colder times or those colder sensations. So wintergreen is a good one to use. This also keeps you very focused and very present. If you don't like wintergreen, you could certainly use peppermint, spearmint, any of the mints, of course. Douglas fir is another one I would suggest working with right now. Douglas fir is the Christmas tree oil. So again, an energy that is associated with Capricorn season, Christmas time, but also Douglas fir is the oil of generational wisdom. And this being a very karmic moon, a very deja vu type of moon, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of karma, the planet of life lessons, and the planet of healing our generational karma and trauma. Perhaps right now you're reflecting on some things that you want to break from your family or from your lineage. We just probably spent a lot of time with our family. Maybe not. But if you did, maybe you noticed some behavior, some patterns, some things that you don't want to carry on in your bloodline. Now is the time to think about changing those, and Douglas fir can help you with that. Also, this oil of generational wisdom gives us more of a positive spin and perspective on the faults of our ancestors, right? We look at these shortcomings of our ancestors, and instead of maybe looking at those in judgment, we can view them with wisdom and lessons and gratitude, even that that's not happening to us. So if you're needing some help viewing all of this generational stuff that you are now carrying and working with, you might want to work with Douglas fir. Also, if you just enjoy the scent of Christmas tree, then, maybe keep that around for the next few weeks as you start to take down your holiday decorations. Now, it doesn't have to be Douglas fir. Any sort of the evergreen oils would be wonderful to work with right now. So anything like, your black spruce, your white fir, Siberian fir. There's many other evergreen pine oil as well. Many other evergreens that you can be working with right now. I would also suggest working with frankincense if you enjoy the scent of it. Frankincense is the oil of the Father. I don't have any with me right now. It's over in my collection. But frankincense is a great one because it is very gentle. You can use it pretty much on any age and pretty much anywhere. And it helps us with cellular health. It helps us to be more present. It helps us with our mood as well. So if you're feeling some of those like heavy feelings underneath this new moon, maybe uplift your frequency by using frankincense. Also, if you just need to feel support, if you're feeling a little lonely right now or feeling alone, this oil, just diffusing it, smelling it, using it can help you feel more secure and more supported. Finally, grapefruit is a great one to use right now for detox. Maybe put a few drops in your water, eat some grapefruits, drink some grapefruit juice, even just smelling the grapefruit or throwing a few drops in your bath. All can help with detox. This is also a great hangover cure. No promises, but we can always try. I don't particularly drink, but if you are out celebrating the new year and you're going to be celebrating with alcohol and you want to maybe try to not have a hangover the next day, then have some grapefruit in the evening before you rest. But even if you're trying to detox in general, with this new moon, with this oncoming new year, grapefruit is a great one to use. Let's move on to our fire element. Now, normally I would light up a smudging stick, and you can do that. You can burn things away right now, but I want to embrace more of that water energy between this mermaid energy or sea goat energy of Capricorn and the opposite energy with the Vedic side of things. I think that using more water right now is really useful. Also, just drinking water and flushing your system is great right now. But a smudging spray is just as effective. This one has the obsidian, the black obsidian stones, and then it has Spanish sage oil in it. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a shake. By the way, do you hear that rattle? Rattles shake away negative energy too. So if you make a smudging spray with a bunch of little stones, you get a 2-for-1 deal here. So I'm just going to give you a little spritz. There it is. I'm going to spritz this tech I'm using, not directly on it, just a little mist for the energy. Don't like wet down your tech. I'm going to spray myself. I'm going to spray all around. And because why not? It smells good. I love smudging sprays. They're a great alternative if you can't light up a smudging stick, if you can't have smoke in the place that you're at, or if you just want to subtly cleanse the atmosphere. Honestly, I had 10 people in my doors tonight, not even an hour ago, for Yoga Nidra, and the whole Sankalpa or visualized intention we did was letting go, letting go, letting go, making ourselves fresh, released from everything that we need to detach from. And there's probably a lot of energy from that. So I'm just spritzing that out so it's nice and pure as we continue our circle tonight. So we've talked about earth energy. We've talked about fire because the fire is used to create the oils. Even though we're not lighting up a smudging stick and waving it around with the smoke, we're still getting the benefit of fire because these oils were collected with steam distillation, and then I'm using those oils to clear the air. Also, that air element arrives with the aromatherapy. We don't have to have the smoke. We can also use just the olfactory system and that ability to smell in the oils to lift our frequency. The ether is the fifth element. I already mentioned it. It's the space that we're digitally connecting with. It moves beyond space and time, and it's a magical place that will grow with its energy and intensity the more people that tune in. So here are these elements now that we are working with. Receive the energy. I am going to enhance it by bringing in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions as well. And then we will continue on with our circle. I'm going to start by bringing in the guides and guardians of the East. with their element of air, giving us an opportunity to breathe into a new year and to exhale away what we want to leave behind in the old year. We invite in the prana that will give us the energy to move forward, and we thank the guides and guardians of the East with their air for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, always here to help burn away what no longer serves us. But also there is a fire coming in with Sagittarius right now in Vedic astrology. This moon is in that sidereal Sagittarius, the fire of the determined archer and goal seeker. And so we let these fires now ignite the drive within us to achieve whatever we are setting out to accomplish. And we thank the guides and guardians of the South with their fire for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water, showing up from the eastern side of the world with the appas, these water deities, helping us to purify. And also just the waters of time coming into these final hours of 2024, welcoming in the new year. We thank the guides and guardians of the West with their water for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the North with their earth elements and the wisdom of our ancestors. We receive all of this now, enhancing our magic, enhancing our circle, enhancing what we need to learn. We thank the guides and guardians of the North with their earth element for being in our circle. And finally, we invite in the guides and guardians of the ether, the fifth element, the Akash, the all that ever was, the all that ever will be, angels, archangels, deities, gods and goddesses, cosmic races, and source energy, whatever that plays out as. We receive whatever we need to receive from the ether, and we thank it for being present in our circle tonight. With that, our circle is officially more sacred and safe. And of course, if anybody is here live and you want to put something in the chat, you certainly can. Let's talk about Capricorn. Capricorn season starts with winter solstice, December 20th or 21st, depending on the year. It is a cardinal sign, meaning it begins a new season. And it is that energy of cardinal earth, which means it is the beginning of the earth and the earth that moves forward. Winter is a very grounding time. It is a time to get back to ourselves, to turn within. We spend more time independently and less time socially. It is a time when we start to think about our goals, what we want to achieve in the next year, what we have worked on so far. And Capricorn is a very determined sign. In more modern times, it's represented by a mountain goat. So you can think about this goat on the mountain, or maybe two goats that fight on the mountain, and the mountain is like crumbling beneath them, but they stand their ground. Or even the way those mountain goats like jump from mountain to mountain or climb up the mountain, it looks like they have no footing whatsoever. Or have you ever seen them go down the mountain? It's crazy. They tumble, they roll, they're fine, they're good. And I think that's a perspective that we don't take as much with Capricorn. We always think about the goat like climbing up the mountain, but notice how maybe not gracefully, but how they can tumble down the mountain and still recover and be just fine. This isn't your typical Capricorn season. This isn't your typical Capricorn moon, because the energy of Pluto, the planet of Pluto, is no longer the same. From 2008 until very recently, it was in the sign of Capricorn. This planet of power and control was in the sign of Earth ruled Capricorn. And this brought a lot of focus on government and structure and law and seriousness, very serious things. But now we've shifted Pluto into Aquarius, which is very free thinking and open minded and a very unique sign. It has very different perspectives on the world. And this opens up a lot more possibility with us Typically, Capricorn is very rigid, very structured, very organized. But this time around, with this new moon in Capricorn and this Capricorn season, we are feeling a little bit more open to options. Maybe allowing different approaches to the way that we work or the way that we do things, and taking into consideration maybe just letting go of the project and starting something different. Saturn, the other ruling planet of Capricorn, is in Pisces right now. And again, very, very recently went direct after being retrograde. And now that it is in this sign of Pisces, it's a very dreamy sign. In fact, Pisces is the water sign, very open and artistic and fluid, and very the opposite of Capricorn. So having Saturn in this sign creates a lot of energy for us to be more open and fluid when it comes to what we're working on. We might dream bigger dreams than we usually do, or more out there dreams, more what seems like unreachable dreams. We might feel more confident that we can achieve those now. Chiron, the other thing to mention is Chiron, the asteroid that represents our wounds, our traumas, our triggers, has been retrograde for some time in Aries, and the sign of the child, and now has turned direct just one day before this moon on the 29th, has turned direct in Aries. And now this gives us more time to work on our outer things instead of our inner things. We've spent a lot of time, probably in the past like 3 to 6 months, really focusing on ourselves, turning inward, healing our wounds, healing this generational stuff, deciding that we're going to be a different version of ourselves as we move into this new age of Aquarius, letting go of old ways, letting go of old standards, letting go of old behaviors. It's been the focus for some time now. As we step into this new year, there's a lot of forward moving motion to bring us out of our shell and more into the outer world. It's time to work on the stuff we want to create in our outer world again. These big goals, this dream life that we want to see happen. We did all the work the past 3 to 6 months. We did the healing, we did the shadow work, we learned our lesson, we dug deep so that we have more clarity and knowledge as we go forward. Excuse me. We might be pursuing the unknown. We might just be coming around to projects that we want to work on again. But either way, there is this shift in how we approach it. We did the inner work. Now it's time to take action, take the steps, and do the outer work. Climb the mountain, so to say. If you want to have an analogy, you could think about these past 3 to 6 months or even this past year. It was the opportunity to train to climb the mountain, to maybe exercise and get stronger in order to climb the mountain, to work on breathing better and strengthening the lungs in order to climb the mountain, and maybe getting all of the preparations in hand, the rations, the tools, the equipment that you need in order to climb the mountain. And now, at least in these next few weeks, you should feel more prepared and ready to start making that scale upward. So Capricorn is an energy that also encourages us to believe in the unbelievable, to believe that we can climb the mountain and we can succeed, to believe that we can win the battle, even though it might seem like it's crumbling beneath us, to believe in the mythological and the magical and big dreams that might seem far-fetched. This mythological mermaid or sea goat that Capricorn brings to the table reminds us that anything is possible and anything can happen. So you might want to spend this new moon actually developing some New Year's intentions or resolutions, if that's what you want to call them. But it is a good time to set goals. Normally, I'm not a fan of setting goals and intentions and resolutions on the first of the year. I'm more about choosing a word for the year. And it's interesting, in this past week, as we worked our way up to this new moon in Capricorn, pretty much since we've entered Capricorn season, I have already chosen my word for 2025. I already know what it's going to be. So I feel like we have this seated energy with Capricorn to go ahead and start working on our dreams, to go ahead and set those goals, set that intention, get our mind right, get the mindset into the proper frequency so that we can start attracting everything that we need to make these things happen. I want to shift over to the eastern side of the world really quick. Let's talk about the Vedic astrology of this moon being in Purva Ashada Nakshatra, or Purvashada. Sometimes it's blended together. This is the invincible star. It's located in sidereal Sagittarius. It is a lunar mansion that is represented by a fan or an elephant's tusk or a winnowing basket. Now, winnowing basket is something that separates the wheat from the husk. It's how you separate the wheat out to use it for cooking. This is a moon that is bringing us encouragement to separate from what no longer serves us, from what no longer supports us, from what no longer contributes to our success and our happiness. We can think about the fan and how it moves the air around. We are coming up on the end of this year and moving into the next year. It's time to make space for everything that you want to welcome in. And you can't create space for things if you don't let go of other things. So this moon does want us to detach from relationships that don't serve. Maybe that's people, maybe that's relationships to work, maybe it's relationships to food, to tech, to projects and dreams that we don't need to be putting our energy towards anymore. We have a fresh start right now to think about where we want to put our energy. And ironically, the very first moon of 2024 was not only in that Capricorn sign, but it was also in Purvashada. So we're repeating the exact moon we had in January of 2024. So maybe take yourself back there and ask yourself, what has happened since then? Or what goals and intentions did you set then? Did they work out? Did they not work out? What do you need to work on again? What do you need to let go of? You have to decide what you want to carry in to 2025. Now, the elephant's tusk is related to not only clearing things out, but also Ganesha, the Hindu deity who is the remover of obstacles. And Ganesha is an energy that reminds us to make space, to clear out, but maybe also to take a different direction. Sometimes the story is that Ganesh sits in our way and doesn't move so that we have to take a different path. You might have to take a different path over the next few weeks from what you planned. You might have to take a different approach to the same things that you were working on from before. You might have to take an all new path altogether and start working on something bigger and better. I do believe that that elephant energy also reminds us to dream big and to almost embrace a childlike imagination. The stories of Ganesh relate him to more of the child of the deities. So there is this childlike innocence that comes to the table when we're manifesting right now. And we are being encouraged to believe that we can achieve whatever we desire. This Purvashada Nakshatra, this lunar mansion known as the Invincible Star, is also overseen by Venus, the planet of creativity and fluidity and magic and the feminine, as well as the Appas, these Ayurvedic water deities that rule the earth's waters and help us use the waters to purify ourselves and detoxify ourselves. This is a time, again, for us to let go of what's holding us back, that's keeping us in a lower frequency, that's keeping us in a lower mood, that's maybe making us hold on to more of a victim mentality, leaning into the past versus getting ourselves ready for the future. A lot of times when we move into the end of the year, we have remorse and regret over everything that didn't happen. So instead of having that sort of reflection, Think more about the wisdom that you gained, the lessons you learned. What did you gain positively? Positively? You know what I'm trying to say. What good did you gain out of the experiences that you went through that may have been more of a shortcoming? It's beginning to think about that right now. This is a great moon to do some journaling, to just do some reflection, maybe some free writing on how you're feeling right now. Maybe you just sit in meditation with yourself, really check in with your mood, check in with your emotions. If you need to cry right now, like maybe give yourself a good cry. If you need to scream, if you need to do some sort of somatic work to release something that's trapped in the body, if you need to go get some energy work, right? It's a good time. We want to separate ourselves from these things that burden us. And we want to make sure that we're feeling very open as we move into this next year ahead. So I have a practice for us tonight. Like I said, normally I would save these practices for the 13 Moons membership, but being the last moon of the year, I want to give this to you as a little bit of a gift. I want us to go through a little bit of breath work, a little bit of guided meditation, a little bit of grounding, so that we can shift our focus and be more attentive to where we actually need to go in these next few weeks ahead. I'd like you to begin by getting grounded. Maybe you're sitting like I am in a chair and your feet can be on the ground. Maybe you are sitting on the ground. Maybe you are standing with your feet rooted firmly in. Just find a way to get yourself planted with feet or spine connected to the earth, maybe tailbone connected to the earth. When you're ready, close the eyes. Take a moment to simply relax your body. Let everything sink down closer to the earth. Let the jaw release. Let your eyes relax. Let your ears lower. Feel the shoulders let go of any tension or stress. And feel that sensation of opening move all the way through the body. And as you are connected to the earth now, feel yourself breathing deeply in, deeply out, beginning to notice where the breath flows, noticing without judgment, simply becoming more aware of your breath. As you tune in, noticing your breath, can you also let your exhales get longer and deeper than your inhales? Take slow, deep breaths in, even slower, deeper breaths out. If you're seated, turn your palms down towards the earth or towards your legs. If you're standing, just let your arms relax by your sides, palms facing in towards your body. If you're lying on the ground, turn your palms down to the earth. We want this attention to move both to our human earthly self and the earthly energy below. As those palms turn down, maybe you are relaxing even more. Continue to breathe deeply. Exhales longer than inhales. Really notice your feet. Notice your legs. Notice your tailbone. Notice your spine. Notice the vertebrae of your spine. Notice the muscles of your lower body. Notice the joint spaces and the connective tissues. And really begin to get in touch with what we call the root chakra, this foundation of your body, the energy center that holds all memory. And as you tune into your vertebrae and your lower body, let this space fill up with the color red. Let it be as red as the molten core of the earth. Feel this red moving throughout every vertebrae of your spine, down to your tailbone, through your glutes, your legs, your ankles, your heels, your feet, your toes. Feel the warmth of this red, as if it's the warmth of the core of the earth. As you notice this red in your root chakra, also notice a cord from your tailbone moving down to the center of the earth. Imagine roots from your feet moving out into the earth. And as this cord from your tailbone and the roots of your feet move into the earth, can you start to feel the connection to Earth's gravity holding you here? Holding you in the present, keeping you tethered so you don't drift into the past, so you don't lean into the future. Let yourself simply be anchored in the here and the now. As you find yourself more present, I want you to visualize yourself at the top of a mountain as a little goat. And you're a mountain goat. Being at the top of that mountain is easy. And as you're hanging out at the top of your mountain, you start to notice the ground crumbling beneath you, feeling a little shaky, like a little earthquake happening. Maybe you start to notice the mountain is crumbling away. These crumbles, these feelings of shakiness, these are the challenges that you went through over this past year. These are the failures, the shortcomings that shook you up, that took you by surprise, that threw you off track. And as you start to see this mountain crumbling beneath you, representing everything that didn't play out how you wanted it to, let yourself roll down now with ease. As that avalanche of rock starts to flow down to the earth, let yourself just tumble and gallop and run and jump and float and flow down the mountain with ease. If you tumble and fall, you get back up, you are unharmed. And make your way all the way down to the earth. Let that mountain crumble beneath you. That mountain was this previous year. It is no longer here. It is no longer tugging away at your energy. You no longer have to climb that mountain full of challenges. You now get to decide what new mountain you are ready to both build and climb. Maybe the mountain you build is the same as before. The same project, the same goals, the same intentions, that same version of yourself you're trying to become, those same habits, those same practices, whatever it is. Maybe it's a new mountain. Maybe it's uncharted territories. Maybe it's a really big dream. You decide what mountain comes in front of you now. And I want you to embrace your inner mountain goat, and I want you to climb up that mountain, and I want you to climb it with ease. And every time you come over a rock or a stick or a crack or a crumbling moment, you pursue, you persevere, you keep going, you believe in yourself until you do eventually succeed and you climb all the way back up to the top of a mountain again. Picture yourself on the top of that mountain, rooted in firmly, maybe waving a little flag of success or feeling how it feels to achieve everything you've worked on. Notice what you see from the top of that mountain. How is your life different? How has it changed? How have you changed? What is the perspective you see now after all of the work you did? What do you have to be grateful for? Take it in. And take a deep breath. Slowly clear your mind of that visual. Feel yourself resting, everything moving to the earth. Feel your body connected to the earth. Feel deep breaths moving in and out. And when you're ready, blink your eyes open. I don't know if you can hear it. There's a little bit of a banging in the background. There is a train track like right across the street over here. And there is a like a bakery, and I think they're getting a delivery right now of like milk or something, or they're working on the train. I can't really tell what's happening, but I mention that because it is so easy to get distracted, right? It is so easy to get thrown off track, to have excuses, even to be like, oh, I can't meditate right now. I got this banging in the background. Or, oh, I can't do this moon circle right now because the circumstances are not ideal for a clear transmission. No, my goal is to show up for you every new moon and full moon that I can. So here I am. Your goal is to hold your drishti, your focus, your vision, no matter what happens around you. This moon wants us to ground in, to really be sure-footed about where we're going, to know ourselves and what we want to create. Let yourself sit with that if you need to. You don't have to set an intention tonight. You don't have to set a resolution on New Year's Day. You can take this whole lunar cycle to think about what you want, and you can set the intentions with the next new moon in Aquarius on Lunar New Year if you need. You don't have to rush your dreams, just like you don't have to rush the work on them. It starts in the mind. The mind starts to develop a mood, an attitude, a belief. From there, we use that to fuel our action. Take your time with this new moon to really get to know yourself, to really know this version of yourself at this moment in time at the end of 2024, with all of these cosmic shifts and changes. And ask yourself, where do you really want to go from here? I always do a tarot reading for our moons, and I just realized I don't even have my cards out. I'm not quite sure where they are. Let's look in the bag. Otherwise, we can go over it without the cards. But I would like to share with you if I can. That is so wild. Well, that's okay. I'm gonna look one more time here and make sure. I thought I brought him, but who knows? This has been a very interesting, there they are. Very interesting week. So, by the way, Mercury, although went direct on the 15th of December, it's still in its post retrograde shadow until the 2nd of January. So if you have been continuing to have problems with your technology, with communication, with expression, with trade, or maybe ordering packages or transiting packages, if you've had any issues with travel, I know a lot of people had issues with flights, you can blame it on Mercury. Mercury's still in its little shadow for a few more days. So patience, lots of patience. Okay. These are the cards I pulled for our new black moon in Capricorn. For our past card, I pulled the strength card. And this is interesting because in our previous tarot reading for the moon, the full moon, guess what I pulled for the past card? Same thing. I shuffled the deck, I cut the deck, and yet I pulled the same card. So this is a very strong, no pun intended, message right now. I do feel like the message is different from the previous time 2 weeks ago. I believe that this card is now just really confirming everything that we've been through. The jaw of the lion is being held by the woman here, representing the challenges that we've had to face and maybe pursue in a different way. There's also this very strong alpha masculine energy, and then this more yin, soft, feminine energy, representing the wholeness that we have had to accept within ourselves and the balance that we've had to find between yin and yang, masculine, feminine, expressing through voice and expressing through action, etc. There is red details here on the card. We have a red feather in the woman's hat and red squares on her cloak. The red feather is representing the action of the mind. The red squares on the cloak represent the physical action taken from the mindset. You might have spent this year having thoughts, putting them into action, making things happen, or maybe things didn't happen as expected. Mars, our planet of taking action and the masculine, is retrograde right now in Leo, and this is the Leo card. So we are not taking action in the typical way. Maybe we're taking action in a different way, or we're just taking different action, new goals, new pursuits. Finally, notice all of the yellow around the card. I do believe this represents our bliss that we've been trying to find over these past few months. 2025 is all about rebirthing ourselves into the life that we truly feel like we deserve to have. And we've been doing the work over this past year to help us embody that worthiness to receive the joy and the abundance that's on our way. I also feel like this card is telling us to quiet our ego just a little bit, to not fall into that victim mentality, to not look back at our failures and be like, oh, woe was me. It's all about finding our strength. Look at how far we've come. Look at what we've made it through. And look at how far we have to go from here. This is a card that has the number 11 on it. 11 is a master number, so it can mean 1-1, which we are getting the same moon at the end of the year that we got at the beginning of the year. It could also mean that number of being in the 11th hour. This moon is rising just 2 days before the new year. We're encouraged to reflect right now, to look back on our wholeness, to look back at our oneness, to look back at how we are more complete at the end of this year versus looking at all the pieces that are missing. Because when we start to look back at all of the things that we've been through, and instead of viewing them in a negative, we view them in a positive light, we start to have more of that perspective overall. We don't see things as failures anymore. We don't see things as losses. It's always going to be a win. It's always going to be something to celebrate. And Leo energy is all about celebration of life. For the present card, I kid you not, we pulled the Capricorn card, also known as the Devil. Magic number 6 representing this card because we have 15 and 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 is all about our magic. And we have a lot of orange on this card. So she's wearing a red dress and she's got this orange around her and some orange squares at the bottom, representing our sacral chakra. This orange, magical, intuitive, creative, fertile energy that we get to have free will to decide how we use. The devil is in the details, the choices we make, the tiny actions that we take every single day. And those little choices that we make that may seem subtle, but have a huge butterfly effect moving forward. Notice how she's got an angel and a devil on her shoulder. This is a card that is telling us that we have a choice to stay where we are or to stay in this older version of ourselves that doesn't serve, or to stay in this victim mentality, or we can be more holy about the approach. We can have more light as we move forward. Every time we fail, we see it in a more positive light. We put a positive spin on it. And that's the action that we're going to have to take as we move through challenges ahead. Don't let one failure in the future end it all for you. Look back at the choice you made, maybe the mistake, learn from it, and then move forward from there. Trust in your intuition, trust in your magic. Make sure that you're leaning into the choices that give you an ability to grow versus shrink down. Remember that Capricorn is ruled by Pluto, the planet of the underworld, who's been in that like Capricorn energy for 16 years. But we're not in it anymore. We're in Aquarius. So we can be more open-minded. We can be more free-willed and free-thinking. It's not like our hands are tied or divine intervention is coming into play. We really do have the ability with our own co-creative magic to make whatever we want happen. I did get a reverse card for our future card. I got the King of Wands. And this is the last card in the deck, in the minor arcana. And the King of Wands typically is somebody that's very balanced, very certain of themselves. They embrace both their yin and their yang. When we find this card reversed, it might be us having self-doubt, being unsure that we can be our fullest, most authentic, most expressive self, being unsure that we can show both sides of ourselves to the world, or being unsure that we can live within all of these facets of ourselves and still be happy and still be joyful and still be abundant, still be fortunate. The yellow around the card could be representing the ego that's holding you back from being in your magic, being in your craft, being in your skill. This age of Aquarius is going to invite us into being more open to whatever makes us weird and special and unique. And wands in the tarot represent what makes us weird and special and unique, and how those crafts and gifts and skills can be used to better the world, bring more joy and bliss into the world, bring more joy and bliss into our world. But we have to get over this mindset, this rigidity. Notice how he's all, armored up here. We have to soften ourselves into that belief system that we can be who we are, that we can do what we want, that we can express ourselves, and that we can let our gifts shine without any repercussion. The King of Wands is a protection message because it's in reverse right now. And it wants to remind you that this is a potential outcome of your future. You can be guarded up. You can feel upside down. You can be hanging out in old worlds, old behaviors, old patterns, old lives. Or you can turn it right side up. You can take action and you can believe in your magic and bring it out. Don't just believe in it, but bring it out, make it happen. Start using your gifts, start using your skills, and you will start to rule your life. Fully enjoy, fully in bliss. I forgot that when you do a thumbs up, it does maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but there's your protection message for the future. I think it's the perfect one. And that is your reading for this new Black Moon in Capricorn. This is what I have for you tonight, loves. If you are catching the recording, if you are a 13 Moons member, we are going to pull cards for you as well. I'm going to pull from the Egyptian Tarot tonight, which is only major arcana. It's a little bit different energy there with those cards. But if you are here on the recording, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to my moon circle tonight. Take this time out for yourself, get a little bit more insight on what's going on in the cosmos, and hopefully it will give you the guidance to step into this next new year full of confidence as you move toward your goals. I do want us to go ahead and release our guides and guardians of the 5 directions because we are ending this year. And of course, if we need any guides and guardians, we can always welcome them in. If we need them to stay, we can always invite in that personal invitation. But just for the sake of this circle, I am going to close by releasing these guides and guardians of the elements. So I'm going to take a deep breath in and out. And I'll take a moment to release the guides and guardians of the 5th element, the ether, everything that comes from this source energy, source consciousness. We receive the messages we need to hear. We thank you for being present in our circle tonight. We accept your guidance as we navigate this entire next year and this nearest lunar cycle. We also thank and release the guides and guardians of the north with their earth elements, as well as our ancestors, thanking them for the wisdom that they've given us tonight, thanking the energy of the elements for enhancing our circle tonight. We also thank and release the guides and guardians of the west with their element of water, helping us to manage time right now as we let go of one year and welcome in another, helping us to lean into the concept of purification as we reset and open ourselves up for a new chapter, a new future, a new evolution. We also thank and release the guides and guardians of the south with their element of fire, showing up with Sagittarius from a Vedic perspective, helping to give us a drive, an urge, and nudge to move towards our goals, to become somebody better, to show up to ourselves. We finally thank and release the guides and guardians of the east with their element of air, helping us to breathe out the old, breathe in the new, and bring fresh prana and life into all of the dreams that we are working to co-create in this 5D reality. With that, our circle is officially sealed, complete. I hope that you have the most wonderful new moon, that you have a very safe and magical and happy new year. We will meet again for the full moon in Cancer, which will be on Monday, January 13th. That'll be at 8 o'clock Central Time in the 13 Moons membership. As I mentioned, we do live transmissions of the moon circles in the membership, and then I put up recordings, edited versions of recordings in my social media channels, so YouTube and website and podcast and all of that. So if you would like to join live or just be able to participate in the magical practices we're going to do on that full moon in Cancer, make sure that you join the 13 Moons membership. We have free trials. If you go to venalene.com/store, you will find that. Couple of announcements, more announcements in the spirit of the mythological mermaid, Capricorn New Moon. Reminder that I have my retreats coming up in April in Panama City Beach, Florida. One of those retreats is centered around a new moon. We will be having a new moon circle on the beach. My beautiful friend Heather Dahlhoff from Humble New Beginnings is also co-leading retreat with me this year. She is a certified sound healer. She brings a lot of magic to the table. We're going to have a wonderful time at the beach. So if you are thinking about getting away, getting a reset in the spring, we have lots of options for you. There is a 2-day weekend. There's a 5-day, a 7-day, a 7-day, a 9-day, a 14-day. You have lots of options. If you want to go to my website, you can look it up, venalene.com/retreats. Early bird rates end on January 29th with that new moon in Aquarius. So you essentially have this whole lunar cycle to think about it and maybe sign up and save. I hope you all have a beautiful new moon. I can't wait to see you again for our next moon circle. Until we meet again, Loka Somasta Sukino Bhavantu. May we all be happy, healthy, safe, peaceful, loved, and may our actions, our intentions, and our mindset, our behavior, our frequency contribute to that happiness, that health, that safety and peace, and that love of all. And so it is. And so it is. And so it already is. And so it may be. Blessed be.